Most people think a racetrack is just a racetrack. You show up, you go fast, you win or you lose. But the reality is that racing exists across 7 completely different worlds, each with its own surface, its own rules, its own kind of car, and its own kind of money. The gap between the bottom and the top is wider than most people outside of motorsport will ever understand. This is what separates them. Before we get into level 1, if you are the kind of person who actually wants to understand how things work at the highest level, hit subscribe right now. We break down worlds most people never get access to. It takes 2 seconds and it means you never miss one. Level 1. Dirt track. This is where it starts, and most people at the top would never admit how important it is. Dirt tracks are unpaved, oval-shaped circuits made of clay or loose soil, and they are almost entirely an American institution. The cars that race here are purpose-built modifieds or late models running anywhere from 400 to 800 horsepower on a surface that shifts and changes with every single lap. There is no grip to rely on. The car slides constantly, and the driver has to control that slide intentionally, steering into the oversteer, balancing the throttle, reading a track that is completely different on lap 50 than it was on lap 1. Entry costs are low. A competitive dirt late model setup can run somewhere between $15,000 and $40,000. The wealth barrier here is minimal, but the skill it demands is not. Many Cup Series NASCAR drivers, including Kyle Larson, credit dirt racing as the foundation of everything they know. Level 2. Dragstrip. A dragstrip is a quarter mile of straight asphalt. Nothing turns, nothing corners. On the surface, it looks like the simplest form of motorsport that exists. It is not. The preparation alone separates casual drivers from professionals. The track surface is treated with a resin compound before every session, and the car has to be tuned specifically to that compound. Tire pressure, launch RPM, suspension preload, and power delivery all dialed into a window measured in fractions of a second. Top fuel dragsters, the highest class on a dragstrip, run over 11,000 horsepower and cover the quarter mile in under 3.7 seconds. The G-force on launch is comparable to a space shuttle liftoff. Entry-level bracket racing is accessible. A competitive top fuel operation costs upward of $10,000 per run in fuel alone. The track is simple. Everything around it is not. Level 3. Oval track. This is where the perception problem begins. People who do not follow motorsport look at an oval and see cars going in circles. What they are missing is the physics happening at 200 miles per hour in a pack of 40 vehicles with no runoff room and concrete walls 18 inches from the door. Oval tracks are banked. The corners are angled upward, allowing cars to maintain speed without turning the wheel significantly. The driver inputs are subtle, but the consequences of getting them wrong at that speed are immediate. NASCAR Cup Series cars run purpose-built vehicles with over 670 horsepower, and teams spend millions per season on aerodynamic development for tracks that look like simple ovals from the outside. The drafting, the strategy, the tire management across 500 miles, none of it is simple. Daytona and Talladega are the cathedrals of this world. Only a specific kind of driver thrives here. We are halfway through, and the levels are about to get very different and very expensive. If you have not subscribed yet, do it now. The next 4 levels are where it gets serious. We will be right back. Level 4. Rally stage. There is no fixed track here. That's the first thing to understand. Rally stages are run on public roads. Gravel, tarmac, snow, ice, mud, through forests and mountains close to traffic for the day and navigated at speeds that feel completely incompatible with what the road looks like. The driver does not know the road. That's what the co-driver is for. A co-driver reads pace notes called out in real time, instructions like right 4 tightens, don't cut, over crest, and the driver reacts to those words while managing a car that is fully committed to a corner they've never seen before. World Rally Championship cars produce around 500 horsepower and are engineered to survive everything from ice stages in Sweden to desert tracks in Kenya across the same season. The cost of a full WRC campaign runs into tens of millions of dollars. The physical and mental demands are unlike anything else in motorsport. Level 5. Road crescent. This is what most people picture when they picture motorsport. a permanent, purpose-built track with a combination of left and right corners, elevation changes, and surface variations that reward technical precision over raw bravery. Road crescents are where aerodynamics become the defining factor. Downforce, the force that pushes a car into the track, allows cars to corner at speeds that would be physically impossible on a public road. The driver has to manage braking zones, trail braking, corner entry speed, and exit traction simultaneously, while also managing tire temperatures, fuel load, and radio communication with an engineer. GT cars, prototype racers, and touring cars all compete on road crescents. The infrastructure alone, marshalling, reticle facilities, barriers, costs millions to maintain. Circuits like Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium or Suzuka in Japan are considered the benchmark of what a racetrack should be. Level 6, Street Circuit. Take everything that makes a road circuit demanding and remove the runoff areas. That's a street circuit. These are temporary tracks built on public city roads, constructed and dismantled around the race weekend, and defined by concrete walls and barriers that sit inches from the edge of the racing line. There is no margin for error and no room to recover a mistake. The car setup has to be completely different. Softer suspension to manage the imperfections of a real road surface, specific brake bias to handle inconsistent corner types, and aerodynamic configurations optimized for low-speed sections that wouldn't exist on a purpose-built track. Monaco is the oldest and most prestigious street circuit in the world. A home on the harbor during race week costs more per night than most people earn in a month. The Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit is valued at over $500 million in infrastructure investment alone. Street circuits are where motorsport and luxury intersect completely. Level 7, Formula One circuit. This is the highest level of motorsport on Earth. Every circuit that hosts a Formula One race must meet the FIA Grade 1 homologation standard, the strictest safety, infrastructure, and facility requirements in the sport. The cars that race on them produce over 1,000 horsepower from a 1.6-liter hybrid power unit and generate enough aerodynamic downforce to theoretically drive upside down on the ceiling of a tunnel. The tracks themselves are resurfaced, laser measured, and modified between seasons based on data from the previous year's race. A single F1 team's annual budget can exceed $500 million. The drivers earn more per season than most nations spend on their entire motorsport programs. 20 circuits, 24 races across 5 continents, and 1 world champion at the end of the year. The track doesn't change what it demands for anyone who reaches this level. Everything changes for the driver. 7 levels, 7 completely different worlds. Most people never get past level 3. The ones who made it to the top didn't just drive faster, they drove differently on every surface, in every condition, against every kind of pressure that motorsport can create. And that's what separates them. If you made it to the end, you're exactly the kind of person this channel is built for. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment telling us which level surprised you the most. We read every single one. See you in the next one.